Hello, good afternoon. Welcome, parents, guardians, and our students. I am Ampofu Menu, and I'm going to be your facilitator for this term. I'll be teaching coding. This term on coding, week 1, we'll do introduction to programming. Week 2, introduction to HTML. Week 3, HTML basics. We'll continue with the HTML basics, in which we talk about images. We'll talk about colors in week 5. We'll talk about lists in week 6. Week 7, we'll continue with the list. Week 8, we'll talk about tables. Week 9, we'll talk about forms. And week 10, we'll talk about heading. This is a recap of today's lesson. Introduction to programming. At the end of this lesson, learners will be able to know what an algorithm is, what a pseudocode is, what a programming language is, examples of programming languages, what is HTML, what HTML is used for, what a web page and a website is, what a web browser is, what a web editor is. Keywords. Repeat after me. Algorithm. Instructions. Pseudocode. Programming language. HTML. CSS. Python. C#. C++. JavaScript. Hypertext markup language. Cascading style sheet. Web page. Browser. Microsoft Edge. Website. Opera. Firefox. Google Chrome. Sublime Text. What then is an algorithm? An algorithm is the list of instructions we use in carrying and completing a task. Normally, these tasks are normally problems. When writing an algorithm, they need to be in the right order. For example, think about an algorithm for getting dressed in the morning. What if you put on your shirt before your singlet or underwear? Your singlet or underwear should be on the top. Your singlet or underwear will be on the top of your shirt, and that will be very silly. When you write an algorithm, the order of the instructions is very important. In an algorithm, each instruction is identified and the order in which they should be carried is always planned. How to use algorithm in our everyday lives. For example, wearing your school uniform, eating your food at home or in the school, finding your way home, or finding your way to the school, doing your homework, and many more. Algorithms can also be used for so many different things. Calculations, data processing, and automation. Representing an algorithm. Most programs are developed using programming languages. Take note of it. Programming language. These languages have specific rules that must be used so that the program will run properly. Pseudocode is not a programming language. It's just a simple way of describing a set of instructions that does not use specific syntax or rules. We made mention of a programming language. What then is a programming language? A programming language is an artificial language that a computer understands. The language is made up of a series of statements that come together to form an instruction. These instructions tell a computer what to do. We have so many programming languages. We have HTML, we have CSS, we have Python, JavaScript, C++, C#, Scratch, and Java. All these are examples of programming languages. Now let's come to what we'll be learning this term, HTML. HTML. HTML is an acronym. It stands for Hypertext Markup Language. As you can see, the H is from the hyper, the T is from the text, the M is from the markup, and the L is from the language. Note, the most current version of the HTML is HTML5. Someone will ask, what is HTML used for? HTML is used for creating web pages. A group of web pages make a website. Someone will ask, then what is a web page and what is a website? A web page is simply a digital document that can be viewed on a web browser. Please take note of the word web browser. A web page can contain texts, images, sounds, animations, videos, and hyperlinks to other web pages. For you to develop a website, we normally use the programming language HTML5 and CSS. Note, CSS is a collection of web pages. It's a collection of web pages. What is a web browser? These are softwares that uses the internet to access the World Wide Web. For example, on this laptop, I have a web browser on it. I have Microsoft Edge and I have Google Chrome. So if I want to access the internet, I can click on either of them. So for example, if I want to access the internet using the Microsoft Edge, I'll double click and open. So for example, I want to search for food. I'll just put in the letters by using the keyboard. Then I will click on food to search. That's how we do. This is an example of a web browser. This is an example of a web browser. The next thing that we are come to talk about is some examples of the web browsers. We have Microsoft Edge, we have Mozilla Firefox, in which you can see is a cross-platform. When we say it's a cross-platform, it's nothing difficult. All that it means that it can be used across so many operating systems, such as the Windows, in which we all know about Windows 10. We can also use it on Android, in which it can be mostly found on mobile phones. We have other operating systems like the Mac OS, in which the iPhone users and those who use the MacBook, that's their operating system. We also have Google Chrome. That too is a cross-platform. Safari is for those who use the iPhone and the Apple products. That's the end of today's lesson. Let's go to the exercises. What then is an algorithm? List 10 algorithms used in our everyday lives. Explain the term pseudocode. What is a programming language? Write down any 10 programming languages you know. The term HTML stands for what is HTML used for? What is a web page? What is a website? What is a web browser? You can list any 5 web browsers you know. What is a web editor? Write down any 3 editors you know. For our lesson, we are going to learn how to download a web browser. The web browser we are going to use is known as Sublime Text. All that you do is you go to your browser you are using, then you key in Sublime Text. Then this one will come. You press on it. Then click on Windows. It will be downloaded. When it's downloaded, you click on Open. When done, and just be patient. It will go through the process. When you get this interface, you click on Run. Then you click on Yes. Then you click on Next, Install. For me, I've already installed it already. When it's finished installing, you can go to your search area and type Sublime Text. Then you click to open. For me, I already have people's work on it. So that's how you see it. So this is how it's supposed to be. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. And don't forget to do your assignment. Bring your assignment on Wednesday.